Good afternoon, Muskegon.
Good afternoon, Muskegon.
I'm Chauncy Williams.
And I'm Tony Williams.
And this is What Do I Do Now? Your guide to credit, debt, and planning for your financial success with 103.7 The Beat.
Okay, man, we have a very special show today. We happen to have Ben Wallace in the studio to talk about what brings him to Muskegon.
All right, we got to make sure we put some letters in front of being Hall of Fame, full-time Defensive Player of the Year, All-Star, just the small big man.
You got a ring, right?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
Yes. yes, he does.
With the Detroit Pistons, man.
Yeah, my favorite team.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We don't have the dash and the flash like they got in LA, but we got some players maybe. Okay. Yes, sir. So you want to give him the first question, Coach?
First question. Like I was talking to Ben earlier, and I was saying him and I was sharing with him about how I was compelled and touched by the Hall of Fame speech that this brother gave. And throughout the Hall of Fame speech, it was one portion that I'm going to read it. And I just want to connect with you on how you're not only Hall of Fame, you were Hall of Fame material when you was born, but how you transcended that. And I just want to take one of these quotes from your Hall of Fame speech. My life path has not always been about basketball. As a young kid, not having the ability to speak and express myself, but having a lot to say, life didn't give me a chance from the start. But I kept fighting, kept teaching, and kept giving back. Life is not all about taking. So I just want you to, from there, being a show that's talk about finance and you coming from the space you came from in Whitehall, Alabama, and teaching and giving back and Hall of Fame and transition from basketball into business, into rare, into owning teams. How does that quote right there transcend?
That was one of the moments in my life that I wanted to remind everybody. There was moments in my life where I wasn't, this big, strong, well-known figure. I was it was time in my life when I was weak and I had to fight, I had to keep working. So to get strong enough, not only just to be able to walk, just to be able to speak, having a voice and not knowing how to use it is a lost art, a wasted talent. And I think with me not being able to speak as a young kid, but having a lot to say, how am I gonna let people know what's on my mind? How am I gonna teach, the young kids that coming behind me if I can't speak? So that was one of the things that I had to really, really work at. So my first 3 semesters in college, my speech teacher, she made it different for me because I wrote a speech and she read it and she said, "Wow, Ben, I think you're a genius. If I can get you to say what you're writing, it would be amazing." But me not being able to speak wasn't just because I couldn't say words, but because the way I was raised in Alabama, we cut everything short. Our country grammar is a little bit different than everybody else, right? So me learning the proper way to speak was what I was really getting at versus me not being able to speak at all. If you got something to say, if you can say it with conviction, you can get a lot of people to follow you versus just, saying a couple words that don't get anybody attention. So being able to speak and get people attention and hold people attention was what I was referring to.
Yep. It's I want to continue on something. All right, we just passed Easter, right? So in the morning I wake up and I exercise, and the character was before my partner here sent me a text message that we were going to interview Ben Wallace. Moses came to me. Moses, and it's during Easter time, and I'm like, Moses, like, why is Moses? And it talked about, in the scripture, talked about uncircumcised lips, but it means that what you're saying is cut it short. Right. Say what you mean what you say, because that's the space you come from. And when I see you, and I've seen you play, you was a man of few words, but your actions displayed the power and the leadership that you had. So I thought about Moses. I'm like, why do I think about Moses as a character? If I get a text message and we interviewing Ben Wallace, and I'm like, I remember I used to live in the city of Detroit, and I worked as an educator. And this was around 2002, 2003, when you guys were transcended as a team. In our school, we loved it. And who's that? Eddie Jones used to play for the Miami Heat, and we had shared family members. And every time we had tickets, we weren't rooting for Miami. We was like rooting for you guys. And I just wanted to share that with you because I saw the development, but just sharing with you that the biblical character for me is Moses. And I know we're talking about business, but I just wanted to share that with you, like, and hearing that speech.
You know, what's also interesting is that Ben did not get into the NBA in the conventional way, right? Ben got there truly by hard work, not feeling that he was entitled, okay? Because he was undrafted, not drafted, took the JUCO route, actually had to go overseas until he got an opportunity to display his wares. And somebody was smart enough and mindful enough to say, you know what? We need to give that young man a chance in the NBA. And all you want is an opportunity to show what you really are about. See, because Ben still didn't have all those star qualities, right? What Ben had that separated him from the others was his work ethic, right? He honed his craft to the point where nobody wanted to see Ben on defense because you know you are about to get shut down. I might not score 30 points, but you're not either, okay? And that's what coined his career in the NBA. And speak to that process of taking it the hard way.
He's out of the draft class of 1996, right?
1996.
So they don't mention that name. I see that picture. I'm like, oh, where Ben Wallace at?
Yeah, man. 96 was, you know, one of the best, if not the best, draft class ever to come through our league. And you know, we had some great, you know, players, you know, in that draft. And me coming from a community college, well, really coming from the backwoods of Alabama, you know, nobody really knew anything about me coming out of high school. You know, then I took the community college route or JUCO route. And then I went to a Division II, and it was a HBCU. So, you know, you could say that I was teeter-tottering on failure my whole career, right? So my thing was, I knew nobody wasn't going to give me a chance. I knew nobody was going to give me a break, but I was hoping somebody would give me an opportunity. You know, I never doubted my ability to play basketball. It was just sometimes you just got to be in the right place at the right time. And I seem to miss all those places a lot of time. But my thing was, high school, I was a football player. You know, I got hurt my senior year playing football. I pinched a nerve in my neck. And the doctors told me that, you know, college football is out the question because this injury will always reoccur, and which it has. So after that injury, you know, me and my mom had the conversation. My mom was like, I know you want to play football. I know you want to go to the NFL. So what are you going to do now? And just lightheartedly, you know, speaking, you know, mom and son conversation, you know, to make her feel better, I said, I'm going to the NBA. So I only played 1 year high school basketball, 2 years community college, 2 years out of Division II, and I got an opportunity to play in the NBA. You know, for those guys that was getting drafted, you know, I'm pretty sure it was their dream come true, but it was also my dream come true because it was nothing expected of me coming into the NBA. Only thing they gave me was an opportunity, and it made me feel right at home because all my life I had been put behind the 8 ball. I had to fight and I had to struggle just to take a step. I had to fight and struggle just to learn to speak, you know, and I had to fight and struggle to win an opportunity to go to a community college and stuff like that. So it put me exactly where I needed to be, you know, and also in my speech, I talk about leading from behind. You know, it's one thing people put you out in front and say, go do this, go do that, go do this, go do that. Yeah, that's cool. But to be a leader from behind, I mean, I'm going to start last, but I'm going to finish first. You know, because most of the time, a lot of people look at races, oh, okay, you start first, he finished first. Okay, well, finishing first don't just mean that you're first. It don't necessarily mean you're the best.
True.
So that's when I say, I'm going to start last, but I'm gonna finish first. But I might not be the first one across the line, but I'm gonna be the best one to cross that line.
I want to. Were you drafted as a guard?
Wasn't drafted. My first
I mean,
workout.
I'm picked. Yeah, first workout I was picked up as a guard on the roster, right?
My first workout was with the Celtic, and they tried me out at the 2-3.
Yeah, that's it. And was that Doc Rivers or somebody or?
No, that was ML Carr and the late Dennis Johnson. Yeah, and
he gave you a chance though.
He gave me a chance.
That's how you can't be that bad.
It wasn't in a position that I wanted to be in, but it gave me a foot in the door.
Man, I love that. You just said it wasn't in the position that I wanted to be in. That's the part of leading from behind, right there.
That's it, man. And that's a story that our community has to embrace in whatever endeavor that they take upon in themselves in life. You got to have that kind of attitude. You cannot have this entitlement type of an attitude, because chances are you're going to be a failure because you don't understand the grit, the hard work, right? So we are basically up on a time limit. But before we go, we just want to know if there's anything that you want to say to our community, our listening audience, being of words of inspiration, and we have to let you go. But what do you got?
I say, to the community, look at me, look at my life, look at my career as an example, right? We talk about, things that we did to succeed. Well, the biggest thing I did was succeed, was take a chance, and I failed. Time after time after time, I failed. Right. So my career and my success was built on failure. So failure for me has always been the best teacher. If you're successful the first time you try something, then I don't want to be around you, because when you fail, you're not going to know how to handle it. In life, our first step, we fall down. Before we learn to put together a sentence, we got to learn to speak a word. So everything about life is built on failure. Before we learn to succeed, we learn to deal with failure. And people that you try to bring to the top of the mountain before they learn to fail, once they slip and fall, they're never going to get back up. Anybody that learn that learn life through failure and get a little bit better, you'll never start over. You'll always start back from experience.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. And I wish we had some more time, being, because this could be.
Now he is here for a partnership that you're doing with Rare, right?
Right.
Yep. And Rare's they're producing a strand that represents you, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
The name of the strand is it represents me to the fullest. The name of the strand is Undrafted.
Undrafted.
Okay.
So I've read an article about in the city of Detroit talking about how you had ailments in your body and you had to lead to the cannabis. To make sure that you healed. And you played how many years? 16?
16 years.
So it actually helped and supported you even before and after your career.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I tell people, pharmaceutical drugs, there's a place for them. While I was playing, marijuana was banned, was illegal. So we had to take the pharmaceutical drugs, which worked because every night I'm going out there, I'm hustling, I'm grinding, I'm playing 40 minutes a night. So whatever I put in my body, I can sweat it out my body. But as a retired player, to just continue to take drugs and not putting in that same work and not using that same type of energy, those drugs start to deteriorate the body.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, and so after I retired, I found, marijuana to be just as good as far as dealing with aches and pains, but better on the body long term. Yeah. So that's my thing. Anything that if you can take marijuana and it helps you with your illness, your aches, your pain, your swelling and all that good stuff, then why go to something that you might become addicted to that's going to cause you to lose your fortune, it's going to cause you to lose your family, that eventually going to take your life away, and it's definitely going to take your livelihood away. Yeah.
And so, because it's always given a bad name when they talk about underserved communities, like with the incarcerated, and then they say, oh, the THC, but then the CBD is the healing agent that heal a lot of ailments.
Right.
Right. Alzheimer's, you got people that's helped cancer. I even think about my mother. If she would have had CBD or a form of something that could be organic, it could have helped her avoid prescriptions. So like you said, I really appreciate your time today. And I know you're a very busy man, and you stopped by little old Muskegon to hang out at 103.7 The Beat. So thank you, man.
You gonna come back, please, Ben?
Man, I'm definitely coming back. Muskegon, just riding down the street, it reminds me a lot of where I'm from, Whitehall,
Whitehall,
Alabama.
Alabama.
You know,
I knew it.
just to get a little bit into Whitehall, just a quick history lesson.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, man, everybody think that the Black Panther movement got started in Oakland, California, or in Chicago, or even in New York. The Black Panther movement got started in Lowndes County, Alabama.
Is that right?
Panthers March.
No.
Panthers March.
Panthers March, man.
Ooh, brother.
You know, and again, that's another subject because we could talk about that
Yes, we could.
because there's a perception about that group
Yep.
that's not right.
It's not right.
Okay, and when we need to really get the narrative straight from a historical standpoint, so our people understand that the Black Panthers wasn't a militant group.
First mentoring program, first
Okay.
free lunch program,
Yeah.
first tutoring.
They were
Right, come
helping
on.
people that looked like them, that were being oppressed, and they were about protecting those people that were oppressed from the oppressor.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
which is something that, you know, again, we could get into a lot of discussion about it. That's why we want Ben to come back when he's got more time, and we can really dive into some of these subjects, man, and get your cut on them,
Man,
right?
I would love to.
Okay, well, I think our time is up, and we'd like to thank you again for coming to Muskegon, and hope to see you soon, Ben.
All right. Thanks for having me.
The great Ben Wallace.
The wait is over. The all-new Umoja Radio Network, home to over 40 Black-owned radio stations and podcasts.